Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. I have a fun little project to show you today. This was a suggestion from a viewer a week or so ago. In my Sew to Sell video report, somebody had commented that I could make toilet roll holders and sell those in the shop. I think it's actually a really good idea. So rather than just make a plain toilet roll holder, this one's got a bit of a difference. It's going to have a secret magazine compartment in there as well. Because there are so many different variations in toilet roll sizes, I'm going to make it big enough to hold the larger toilet rolls, and it will easily obviously fit the regular size toilet rolls as well. 3 compartments and 1 magazine compartment. Hang around, I'll show you how to make this. Okay, there are only 3 things that we need. We have our main piece of fabric. This is a border print, and I have a pretty batik fabric for the inside. The other thing we need is just some fabric to do a strap or a handle for the top of the toilet roll holder. This is 14 inches long, 2 inches wide, and I've actually stabilized this with some interfacing. It's just a regular iron-on interfacing. Fold it in half, then fold the raw edges in, and then fold that together, and you can take that to the machine and stitch it down both long edges. With our 2 main pieces of fabric, we've got 5.5 inches across by 89 inches in length, and I've just joined a few pieces of fabric together with a 1/2 inch seam to get my 89 inches. I've done the same for my lining piece. I'm using a border print for this one today, and if you'd like to know how to fussy cut your border print so that it's exactly the same on each join and that the print matches up, I've done a quick little short video showing you how to do that, so I'll pop that up at the same time just to so that you know how to fussy cut a border print if that's what you wanted to use. So at any time you can go and fold your fabric for your handle and stitch that down both sides. This is going to be a really quick project to do. With your 2 main fabrics, place them right sides together, and being a batik, or a batik, I don't really know how we pronounce it. Is it batik or batik? I don't know. You want to make sure that you have the raw edges of your seam facing up. So line up the right sides. What you're going to do is pin this together all the way down to the other end, and at any point along the long edge you can leave an opening on one side to turn your work through. Leave this much of an opening, stitch all the way around, and then we can clip our corners and then turn it through, and then we can close our opening and top stitch it. Okay, my fabric's been pinned together all the way along. We'll take this to the machine now. We'll stitch a handle and we'll stitch this all the way around. Now, because I've got an opening in the middle, I'm going to start right in the middle of the whole strip, and it's just 1/4 inch seam allowance. We can now trim the corners. Trimming the corners will just make it easier to turn through, and you'll have nice neat points. We can turn this the right way around and then give it a really good press to make sure our seams are nice and even, and then we will top stitch this. If you have trouble prizing the corners out because it's such a long piece of fabric, just grab yourself a pin and you can just wiggle the fabric to the corner and then put your pin in and help prise out that little corner. That will give you nice square points. And we'll go and give this a really good press, making sure that this seam is right in the middle of the layers of the fabric. We've got this pressed really well all the way down, and there's our opening with the edges pressed under. We're going to do a top stitch now on both long edges. We don't need to do it along the top at this stage because we're going to join the fabric later on. So let's leave the top edges, do a top stitch down both long edges. We've finished one side, we can come down the other side, and then the most tedious part of the whole project is over. Okay, let's do some folding and finish this up. This is the fun part. We've got this right side up, flip it over so that you've got the wrong side faced up, and we're going to start doing a series of measurements and putting pins in place. What we need to do from this edge here is measure 5 inches down. I'm taking the 5-inch line on my ruler here, and I'm going to line that up with the top edge of my fabric. If you want to, you can get a marker and mark this across. So I'm not sure if you can see that grey line across there. This is a fade out pen, so the line will come out. 5 inches from the top, and just mark a line or put a couple of pins. from this 5-inch mark, we want to measure 19 inches. So I'll place my 19 inches at that drawn line or where the pins are. Keep the fabric nice and straight. At the 19 inches, we'll mark another line or put a couple of pins. From this line, we're going to mark 5 inches again. From this 5-inch line here, we're going to mark 19 inches one more time. So what we have is 5 inches, 19, then we have 5, and then 19 inches. And I will put the centimetre measurements for you up on the screen as well. So this is the top edge where we'll be putting our hanging loops. This 19-inch mark here, bring these pins or the line up to the 5-inch line. Still working with the wrong side of your fabric. We'll flip that all the way over. We've got our lines lined up underneath, and this will become our stitching line. So you can place a mark straight across there. So what you'll have is that folded like this. So you've got 5 inches. The 19-inch section has been folded back up to itself. We've pinned that. Then we'll take this bottom section and we'll just fold that away. So we've got a 5-inch and then another 5-inch. Take this 19 inches again and we'll fold that up. Flip that across, line up the drawn lines and pin it in place. Mark a line across again. So once you've done the first 2 flaps, we've got our 5-inch flap at the top, we've got our 19 inches folded with a 5-inch gap and then another 19 inches folded. Take this to the machine now, and this flap here where the pins are, we just want to stitch that closed. So stitch it closed along here and then come and stitch this one closed. Let's take our first flap and just back stitch at the beginning and the end. There's our first one, and we'll go and do our second one. So just make sure you've got all the other fabric out of the way. And we'll go back to the table and measure the last part. Okay, so far we've got our 5-inch gap at the top. We've got one pocket here, another pocket here. Flip the 2 pockets away from the rest of your strip, and then we're going to mark 5 inches. So our previous sewn line is along here, and then you just want to come down 5 inches, which I've already done. That's the stitching line here, and then just go and mark 5 inches. And that's going to be our final stitching line for the pocket. Turn it around the wrong way and to take the top flap and just fold everything down. Bring the other end up to meet the top end, and we're just going to pin this in place just for the minute. So we've got the top edges pinned in place, and then all we need to do is just even this out so that you've got a nice fold along the bottom. Flip that around. We've got the top, which is where our handle is going to be positioned. Then we've got the first toilet roll holder, the second one, and this will be our third. So where we've marked that 5-inch line here, line that up neatly, take that to the machine and stitch straight across there. I'm just going to go and quickly do that now rather than taking you with me. So I'll stitch that straight across and then we'll be ready to put the handles on and finish it. Okay, so I've stitched the bottom section closed. And now if we just bring that back to the top, you can see here that we now have 3 sections to put our toilet rolls. We also have a gap all the way along here. We're not going to close that. That's going to become our secret magazine compartment. So let's go back to the top edges. We've got our top edges there. Grab your handle that you prepared earlier. We're going to position the handle 1/2 inch in from the edge and 1/2 inch down, and we'll do the same on both sides. So this cutting mat has got 1/2 inch squares on there. Place that 1/2 inch from the top and 1/2 inch in from the side, and do the same on the other end. Keep it nice and flat as you bring the handle around, and place the other flap end directly over the top, and that will close up your handle sections. Line it up so that it sits nicely. Now, I might just mention at this point, you don't have to do one really long loop. It depends on where you're going to hang this. You might actually have a nail that you're hanging it on, so you might just want something really short. You might want 2 separate loops to hang this onto something that you've got in your bathroom. I'm happy with this just being one long loop, and I'll show you later how it hangs over the toilet roll holder. Now we can finish this up by top stitching all the way along the very top edge. So we're going to do a 1/8 inch top stitch that will secure the handle. Where we've placed our handle down at 1/2 inch, we're going to do another row of stitching just above that. So about 3/8 of an inch up, or about 1 centimetre, just to secure those handles in place even more. And then this is completely finished. I can't wait to show you how it looks. We now have the last 2 rows of stitching to do. We're just going to secure that handle with a 1/8 inch top stitch. If you feel you need to, you can go back and then forward again just to secure the stitches. But look, toilet rolls aren't that heavy, so I'm not going to bother. And rather than finishing your stitching here, we'll come down, and we're going to come down 3/8 of an inch. Turn it around. Then we're going to stitch all the way down this edge and come back up that 3/8 of an inch again. And we're completely finished. So let's go and load this up with some toilet rolls, and I'll show you how it's going to look. So here we go. I've loaded it up. It's all ready to go into the bathroom, and I've got 3 toilet rolls in here, and you can see this is the really big one that I showed you earlier, and these are just a couple of the regular ones. So you'll be able to fit quite a large roll in there. So it'll be very versatile, and then we have our little pocket for magazines. Now, who's going to come to the bathroom with me? Okay, it might be a little bit echoey in here, but here it is. The triple toilet roll holder sitting underneath the toilet roll holder in our toilet room. And as promised, there is a magazine storage compartment. I think next time Chris and I visit this room, we might have some great reading fodder. I think that's come up pretty good. So how fun is that project? That will sit nice and flat against the wall. Triple toilet roll holder with a pocket large enough on the side to put your favourite sewing magazines and books whilst you're in the throne room. I've really enjoyed making this one. It's very, very quick to assemble. There's 2 strips of fabric. I've got lots of remnant strips of upholstery fabric, so I'm going to try making some of these with the upholstery fabric remnants and see how they go in the shop. The most tedious part of this whole project was actually cutting up my border print so that it's nice and even. If I were just using a random print, it wouldn't matter. I just cut my 5.5 inch strips and away I go. Given that it's the beginning of the year, I think it's time for a brand new product in the shop. I'm going to see if I can find some time to make up some more, and I'll see if I have something to report when I do my breakdown in a few months' time. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks so much to the viewer that suggested this. I think it came up a treat. What do you think? Anyway, that's it for now, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.